In this video, I'm going to show you how to find big schools of jewfish just like this. I'm going to break down the 5 biggest factors that will put you within casting range of a massive school, and I'm not talking about the bait or the color of your braid or what some old far-fetched theory is. We're going to talk about structure, tides, weather, gear, and presentation in a way that nobody has explained it to you before. My name is Nabil Isa and I've been fishing for over 30 years, and jewfish is a species I got obsessed with. I've spent years chasing them, studying them, failing and learning until it all finally started to click. I've caught countless of jew across southeast Queensland and beyond. What I'm going to teach you today isn't just theory, it's real world experience. Now let's get into it. Firstly, let's understand 2 distinct types of jewfish behavior that I've observed over the years, and you need to know which one you're targeting. The first pattern, schooled fish, tight groups stacked around structure but not actively feeding. The second, spread out, roaming fish, actively hunting, ready to eat. One is easy to find but hard to catch. The other, hard to find but easy to catch. In this video, we're actually talking about the first group, because that's what you'll most likely encounter. And once you know how to approach them, you can catch them. Factor 1, structure. If you want to find a school of jewfish, you need to find big structure. Not rubble, not patchy bottom. Think wrecks, bridges, underwater caves, wharves, big bouldery rock walls where they can hide and get into. Because even though they're a big fish to us, they're in survival mode. They want cover and protection and shelter. The structure needs to be large enough to hold a full school of 50, even 100 fish. Now depth is important as well. The shallowest spot I've seen them and caught them is 7 meters. Why? Not really sure, but I never found a proper school any shallower. Could be clarity, could be predation risk, but deeper, darker water helps them feel safe. Ideally, 10 to 30 meter deep is the range. And here's another thing people don't realize. Just because the structure is good doesn't mean they're going to be sitting right on top of it. They can be within 100 meters, even more, of the structure. So you might need to scan wide of the school, loop around, try different passes, different angles. I've also watched jewfish move in and out of wrecks on live sonar, and they're surprisingly hard to see on traditional down or side scan when they're in tight. If you don't have active target or live sonar, you can miss this. So it's important to pass through in different angles and often come at different times as well. Finding these spots can be tricky. Obviously, not everyone has a wreck that they can go to. So if you do need help finding areas like this, I have a sounder course that spells it all out, makes it easy. You can check the link below. So to summarize, we want big structure that a whole school is going to fit into. We want deep water, 10 to 30 meters. We want to be looking wide around the structure as well as not just in close. Factor 2, current and tides. This one gets overcomplicated, so let's try and keep it simple. Everyone talks about the moon phases like they're magic, but it's not the light from the moon that triggers the bite, it's the tide that the moon creates. The jewfish eat when there's movement, and the best movement, it happens around the biggest tide of the day. So in summertime, that's during daylight hours, and in winter, it's usually after dark. Growing up, I'd always hear stories of big jew being caught on the full moon at night as it's rising over the water. And people thought that was just a thing, full moon, that's when they bite. But now I reckon it's just the massive tides. Full moon equals the biggest tides of the month, and in winter those tides are at nighttime when they're fishing under the moonlight. So maybe it's more about the effect the moon has as opposed to actually seeing it. Another important factor with the tide is how it hits your spot. The spot itself needs to get flow every single tide, because if there's no current there, there's no reason for the jewfish to be there. These fish aren't like tuna, they don't chase bait all day long. They sit tight, conserve energy, and wait for the buffet to come to them. So if you're fishing a wreck that never gets current, even if it looks incredible, it's in the right depth, it might get the odd fish, but it won't get those massive schools. Find spots that naturally get water flow. Even if the tide slows down while you're fishing at some point, that's okay, as long as you know that there's current coming. Factor 3, weather. Here's what I've seen work like clockwork over and over in southeast Queensland. Southeasterly winds, 5 to 10 knots, cloud cover, rising barometer. That combination is Mulloway magic. The southeast brings a stable rise in pressure, it softens the light because the wind brings clouds, it gives surface cover, and adds that little chop to the surface as well. And in turn, all of these work together to make the fish feel more safe, more comfortable, and they're more likely to bite. But when a northerly wind comes through, the barometer drops and the fish move on. My preference is any wind from the southwest to east, southeast being my favorite. And if the northerly is blowing, I try and find areas that are out of the current, or pick another day because I know a lot of the time it's not worth fishing when that northerly wind is blowing. Factor 4, the right tech makes all the difference. So you need the right gear for this job. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and spend a fortune, far from it. But at a bare minimum, you need a sounder that's capable of side scan. Because when you're trying to find big schools of jewfish, side scan makes that entire process 10 times easier. Without it, you're basically blind. Ideally, your sounder should give you clear readings 120 feet either side of the boat, and it should hold that clarity even at higher speeds. That's important because sometimes you need to cover a lot of ground, and you want to be able to travel at 5 knots, 10 knots, 15 knots, and still be able to see the little bumps, shadows, and clusters on your screen. And if your unit can't keep up, you'll miss those fish. It's that simple. So when your sounder is dialed in properly, you can efficiently search entire areas and know exactly what you've scanned and what you haven't. It stops you wasting time and energy and guessing. And let's be real, I could give you all the tips in the world. I could come and show you exactly where to go. But if your sounder isn't doing its job, it's kind of pointless. You're not going to see the fish. So this is the piece of gear that unlocks the whole equation. Again, if you aren't confident your sounder is giving you this level of info, link for the sounder courses below makes it super simple. Factor 5, presentation. School jewfish are not actively feeding, so you can't just cast your lure out and hope. You need to get accurate. Your lure needs to be right on their nose, not behind the school, not drifting out to the side. You need to present it head on. And your sounder use is really important here. Watch how they're sitting in the current, plan your drift or cast, and try to get your lure to hit the front of the school. Here's the trick, right? That first fish, the one sitting in the front of the school, they're the ones that usually eat. If you line your drift correctly, make the right cast, get that lure to those fish, it's almost guaranteed to get eaten. They don't shut down if you miss it, but often they move around quickly and you might not get a second shot, so you want to nail that opportunity. Think of it like chasing surface feeding tuna or pelagic fish. You don't just charge in and cast randomly. I mean, we do it, but deep down we know it's not the right way. You watch, you stalk, you wait for the right moment, then you cast just ahead of where they're moving and go for the kill. Same deal here. These Jew, like I said, they're not going to chase a lure down. They're not going to swim out of the school to grab you. They're not turning around behind them to eat something either. So this lure has to be so close enough that they can't ignore it, that they would feel dumb if they didn't eat it. It's like this, right? Another example. You've eaten a massive dinner, you're on the couch, full, and there's a bowl of chips in the kitchen on the other side of the room. You're not going to move to get it, right? But if that bowl of chips was sitting right on your lap, under your nose, you're eating it. It's the same with these fish. Take your time, don't cast until you know it's in the zone, and you can put that lure so close to that fish's face, he's just going to eat it. So if you're struggling to catch jewfish, to find these big schools, it's not your lure, it's not your scent, it's not the moon, it's because you're not aligning these 5 factors. Structure, we want to find big structure. We want tidal flow. We want to pick the right weather. We want good quality gear. And we want to present that lure in a way that that fish has no choice but to say, yes, I'm going to eat that. If this helped you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, as we have heaps more content just like this coming every single week. My name is Nabil Issa, and I'm your fishing coach.